Have you ever wondered why so many seniors seem to fade away quietly, even though they appeared physically healthy not long before? It's not always heart disease, cancer, or a dramatic event that takes them. Often, it's something far more silent, far more overlooked, and shockingly underestimated by both doctors and society at large. I'm Dr. Andrew, a specialist in senior emotional health, with over 30 years of experience helping older adults not only live longer, but live better. Through decades of research, clinical work, and conversations with thousands of seniors, I've uncovered a powerful truth that most people miss completely. What if I told you that one of the strongest predictors of decline after 70 isn't medical? It's emotional, and that it doesn't show up in your blood tests, X-rays, or physical exams? Instead, it hides quietly in your daily life, and its name is loneliness. Today, I'm going to show you how this hidden threat quietly undermines the mind, the body, and even the immune system. And more importantly, I'll share a simple yet powerful roadmap that can reverse its damage and restore the spark you thought was lost forever. You don't need expensive treatments, endless therapy, or drastic lifestyle changes. The tools are already within you, and the shift starts today. If you're ready to take back your vitality, keep watching, because the final message may change how you view aging and your future forever. Let's begin with the hidden danger that's quietly shortening lives around the world. The silent epidemic, disconnection, and loneliness. After 70, as I sit across from patients in their 70s, 80s, and beyond, I often notice something that isn't captured on lab tests or medical charts. It's a particular kind of silence, a heaviness in the room that doesn't come from illness, but from absence. The absence of regular phone calls, the absence of shared meals, the absence of laughter in a room once filled with voices. It's a silence that weighs heavier than age itself. And over time, I've come to recognize this silence for what it truly is: loneliness. Not the kind that comes from enjoying a quiet evening alone. I'm talking about the chronic, gnawing kind of loneliness that slowly erodes the human spirit. The kind that creeps in after a spouse passes, after the kids grow busy with lives of their own, after friends move away or pass away. It's an invisible epidemic that's spreading through our aging population, yet we rarely talk about it. In fact, some of the most outwardly healthy seniors I've met, people with normal blood pressure, good cholesterol, active lifestyles, were quietly suffering. They weren't sick in the traditional sense, but they were withering from the inside out. And science is finally catching up to what many have known intuitively for years. Loneliness isn't just emotionally painful, it's physically deadly. Let me share some numbers with you. According to the National Institute on Aging, social isolation significantly increases the risk of premature death, on par with smoking, obesity, and physical inactivity. Chronic loneliness has been linked to a 29% increase in heart disease, a 32% increase in stroke, and up to a 50% higher risk of developing dementia. Seniors who report feeling lonely are more likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, disrupted sleep, and even poorer wound healing. And perhaps most alarming of all, the immune system itself becomes compromised. The body begins to treat loneliness like a chronic stressor. It floods with cortisol, inflames vital organs, and gradually loses its ability to fight off disease. In short, loneliness is not just a feeling. It is a biological threat. But here's the cruel twist. It rarely starts suddenly. It begins subtly. One friend stops calling. A neighbor moves. A spouse passes. Family becomes harder to reach. And at first, it feels like something manageable. You fill your time with TV, errands, or naps. You tell yourself it's just a phase, but weeks turn into months. Conversations become fewer. And somewhere along the way, without realizing it, you stop reaching out, and people stop reaching back. This is the pattern I've seen far too often. A gradual, almost invisible descent, not into disease, but into disconnection. And it doesn't just affect people living alone. Many seniors surrounded by people, nurses, caregivers, even family, still experience emotional loneliness. That is, the absence of meaningful connection. No one really listens. No one really asks how they're feeling, what they're dreaming about, what memories they're holding on to. That kind of emotional abandonment can feel more painful than physical solitude. Let me be clear. We are not meant to age alone. We are social creatures by design. The need for connection doesn't vanish at 70, or 80, or 90. If anything, it becomes more vital. In younger years, connection is often incidental. It happens at school, at work, at your kids' events. But after retirement, when routines fall away, connection must be created intentionally. And that's where the danger lies, because many seniors were never taught how to build new emotional ties later in life. Some carry pride. I don't want to bother anyone. Others carry shame. If I'm lonely, I must have done something wrong. And far too many carry the weight of grief. I've already lost the one person who understood me. These thoughts are not just tragic. They're toxic. Left unchallenged, they build emotional walls that become harder and harder to tear down over time. But here's what I need you to hear, above all else. Loneliness is not your fault, and it is not your destiny. You are not broken. You are not past the point of meaningful connection. You still have so much love to give, so many stories to share, so much life to feel. And here's the truth that society rarely tells you. You still matter. Your presence has power, and your need for connection is not a weakness. It's a sign that your heart is still very much alive. Yes, the world may have grown quieter, but that does not mean your chapter is over. It means it's time to write the next one, with new friendships, deeper self-awareness, and a renewed sense of belonging. In the next section, we'll explore why this emotional and social connection isn't just about feeling better. It's about staying alive longer and living stronger. What I'm about to share may change the way you look at your future and your own power to shape it. Why emotional connection is critical after 70. By the time most people reach their 70s, they've weathered decades of life. They've raised families, built careers, suffered losses, celebrated milestones, and watched the world shift beneath their feet. But for all the lessons life teaches us, there's one truth that continues to surprise many of the older adults I've worked with. The human heart never stops needing connection. Not at 30, not at 50, and definitely not after 70. In fact, as we age, emotional connection becomes not just a comfort, but a critical component of our biological survival. The science is clear: connection heals. Let's talk about the biology of connection. When we experience meaningful emotional bonds, whether through friendships, romantic relationships, spiritual communities, or even a simple phone call with a loved one, our bodies respond with a cascade of powerful biochemical changes. Oxytocin, the so-called bonding hormone, is released. It reduces blood pressure, calms anxiety, and lowers cortisol levels. Serotonin and dopamine increase, elevating mood and enhancing cognitive function. Heart rate and blood pressure stabilize. Inflammation markers in the bloodstream drop. These are the very same markers linked to heart disease, arthritis, and even Alzheimer's. And the immune system strengthens. increasing your body's ability to fight infection, regulate inflammation, and recover from illness. This isn't emotional fluff. This is neuroscience. Multiple studies over the past 20 years have shown that emotionally connected seniors live longer, recover faster from illness, and face a significantly lower risk of chronic diseases compared to those who remain socially isolated. In one major study published by Harvard, researchers followed a group of adults for over 75 years. Do you know what they found was the strongest predictor of health and happiness in old age? Close relationships. Not wealth. Not fame. Not even professional success. It was the depth and quality of their emotional connections. Connection is mental health insurance. In my years as a doctor, I've treated thousands of seniors, and I've come to believe something very few textbooks will tell you. The most powerful antidepressant after 70 is another person's voice saying, "You matter." It could be the warm banter with a lifelong friend, the shared silence with a spouse, the laughter of grandchildren, or even the gentle acknowledgement of a neighbor or caregiver who looks you in the eye and listens. Without these moments, the mind begins to dim. Cognitive function declines faster in those who are socially isolated. Loneliness is now recognized as a significant risk factor for Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Why? Because the brain, like a muscle, needs stimulation. And few things stimulate the brain like emotional interaction. Think about it. A conversation involves memory, attention, language, empathy, and social reasoning, all in real time. Empathy activates multiple brain regions. Storytelling engages both the emotional and rational centers of the mind. So when we talk, we're not just connecting emotionally, we're literally keeping our brain cells firing. Connection inspires physical movement and purpose. But the benefits of emotional connection don't stop with the brain. It inspires physical movement and daily engagement too. Let me explain. Have you ever noticed how seniors who feel seen, heard, and valued are more likely to take walks, cook meals for themselves, attend events or appointments, maintain personal hygiene and grooming, engage in hobbies? Why? Because when we feel connected, we believe we matter. And when we believe we matter, we take better care of ourselves. This is what psychologists call social anchoring. When we have people to show up for, when we feel part of something bigger than ourselves, we have more motivation to keep going. Even pets can play this role. A dog that needs a walk, a cat that cuddles on your lap. These small forms of responsibility help structure our days and restore a sense of meaning, a precious currency in older age. Connection is protective against emotional numbness. Many older adults I've worked with describe a kind of emotional flatness, not depression exactly, but a subtle numbness. They don't feel sadness or joy, just gray. And often, the cause is not physical illness, it's not dementia, it's emotional withdrawal. The brain and heart begin to shut down parts of their emotional circuitry when meaningful relationships vanish. It's a kind of self-preservation. If no one's there to connect with, why open up? But this state is reversible. I've seen it firsthand. I've watched someone in their 80s light up like a child when they joined a book club and found a group of people who listened to their thoughts. I've seen quiet, isolated men rediscover laughter through veterans' circles or faith groups. I've watched widows find new meaning in volunteer work, sharing stories with teenagers who needed their wisdom. Connection reawakens the emotional self. It reminds us that we still have something to offer, and that someone else out there might need what we carry, whether it's a lesson, a smile, or simply our presence. Even solitary people need connection. Now, you might be thinking, but I'm an introvert. I like being alone. And that's perfectly okay. You don't need to become a social butterfly or fill your calendar with events. Emotional connection isn't about quantity. It's about quality. Even just one or two deep relationships, people you can talk to honestly, laugh with, confide in, can change everything. And in today's world, you don't need to leave your home to connect. Phone calls, video chats, voice messages, even writing letters, these can all be powerful bridges back to the world. Connection as a form of healing. Perhaps most importantly, emotional connection is a form of healing. It can soothe old wounds. It can release grief that's been trapped for years. It can remind you that you're not alone in your struggles, and never were. In fact, many seniors tell me that the best conversations of their lives happened after 70. Why? Because with age comes perspective, vulnerability, openness. The masks come off, the ego softens, and what's left is realness. That kind of connection, heart to heart, soul to soul, is the medicine we all need. So, if you've felt yourself growing emotionally distant, if you've pulled back from people because of pain, loss, or simply habit, know this: it is not too late to reconnect. Your life can still expand, not shrink, with age. And that connection you're craving? It's craving you too. Common myths that quietly destroy senior vitality. Through decades of work with older adults, I've discovered that most people don't choose loneliness. They slide into it, guided by harmful myths they don't even realize they've absorbed. Here are three of the most destructive. 1. It's normal to be lonely at this age. No, it's common, but not normal. Loneliness is a condition, not a consequence, and it is absolutely reversible with the right awareness and effort. 2. I don't want to be a burden. So many seniors withdraw because they believe their presence is unwanted. But this belief is rarely based on truth. More often, it's rooted in old wounds or pride. People need you, your stories, your wisdom, your presence matters. 3. It's too late to make new friends or start over. One of the most heartbreaking lies. I've seen 80-year-olds fall in love, make new friends, join choirs, learn languages, and rediscover passions they buried decades ago. It is never too late to reconnect. The moment you challenge these myths is the moment your life begins to change. So, what comes next? A clear, gentle system that shows you how to break through loneliness and build a new life on your terms. The reconnection method. Step by step back to vitality. When I created the reconnection method, it was designed with one goal: to help seniors restore meaningful connection, even if they live alone, have mobility challenges, or feel emotionally shut down. It's a 5-step process. Here's how it works. Step 1. Create a safe emotional space. Just like your home needs warmth, your emotional self needs comfort. Find a spot you enjoy. A reading corner, a window seat, a cozy chair. Light a candle. Play music. Create a place where you feel valued. This small step prepares your heart to receive connection. Step 2. Daily check-in. Each morning, ask yourself, how do I feel? And who can I reach out to today? Even a 5-minute chat can anchor you. If no one is available, journal your thoughts. The goal is to express, not suppress. Step 3. Engage the world around you. You don't need to join a crowd. Just start with presence. Walk to the mailbox, greet a neighbor, attend one event a week. Small, consistent social touches spark big emotional shifts over time. Step 4. Purpose activation. Reconnect with what gives your life meaning. Volunteer, teach, mentor, plant a garden. When we serve others, we grow ourselves. Purpose is one of the most powerful antidotes to loneliness. Step 5. Celebrate tiny wins. Rebuilding connection is a process. Celebrate every small victory. A smile, a call, a shared story. These are not small. They are life-saving. With this method, I've seen people go from despair to joy, from isolated to inspired. And you can too. Pitfalls to avoid on your journey back. Even with the best intentions, many people stumble on their way to reconnection. That's normal. What matters is knowing the traps before they pull you in. 1. Perfectionism. Don't wait for the perfect time, the perfect event, or the perfect friend. Connection isn't perfect. It's real. Show up as you are. 2. Inconsistency. A phone call today and silence for 3 weeks won't rebuild emotional muscle. Schedule connection like medicine, because it is. 3. Shame. Many seniors feel embarrassed about being lonely, thinking it means they failed. It doesn't. Loneliness is a symptom of our modern world, not your worth. Healing starts when you drop the shame. 4. Giving up too soon. You may feel awkward at first. That's okay. You may reach out and not get the response you hoped for. Keep going. You are not invisible. Keep trying. Each small act of connection strengthens your heart, your mind, and your health. Conclusion: reclaim the connection you were born to feel. As we close this journey together, I want you to remember something powerful. You were not meant to walk this life alone. Your heart, your soul, and even your biology were designed for connection. It is never too late to reach out, rebuild, and reignite your social and emotional life. Whether you're 70, 80, or beyond, your capacity for joy, intimacy, and companionship is still alive. I've watched people in their final years laugh like teenagers, fall in love, start new adventures, and find healing they thought was impossible. That spark still lives in you too. Reclaiming connection isn't about needing others. It's about allowing yourself to be seen, heard, and valued again. Start small. Stay consistent. Be kind to yourself. And remember, the more love and connection you give, the more comes back. Your story is not over. You still have so much life ahead. Choose today to write your next chapter, filled not just with more years, but with more life in every year. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for actionable health tips to keep you strong, sharp, and independent as you age. If this resonates with you, drop a 1 in the comments.